tell you a story about a tough old bird. Now, this little lady, crabby little lady known as Maxine, she lives on Crabby Road, and she says on the picture, "I'm serving ham. One tough old bird at the table is enough." Now, in Canada, cranky old ladies often get called crusty old broads. But in Britain, they're known as tough old birds. Now, the dictionary says this is slang for someone who is very wary or astute, someone who has survived innumerable hardships, and they're very resilient. I would like to tell you about a tough old bird that came into my life and taught me that it might be just one of the biggest compliments I could ever receive. I'd like you to meet Nancy. She was my roommate on an ocean cruise, and we'd been brought together by mutual friends. She was a tiny, spry English woman in her late 80s. I could have fit her in underneath my arm. She had that beautiful English rose complexion, big blue eyes, and it was all surrounded by a halo of silver hair. Doesn't she sound sweet? She was a medical doctor, still in active practice. Arthritis had gnarled her hands, and it had slowed her pace, but it hadn't touched that steel rod that she had in place of a spine. Nancy was all about practicality. There was no idle chit-chat, as we do when we're trying to get acquainted. And she fairly bristled at me when I suggested that I help her with her bags. Not this gal. I had to quickly recalibrate my response to help the elderly. And I soon realized that being a stranger, I would need to be vetted. As we were boarding the ship, and I'm sure many of you have been on a cruise, we had to get our credit cards out. Now, Nancy got hers out first, but then she waved it in the air at me, and she said, "Get your own credit card out. I'm not buying your booze." Well, I would have been insulted if I hadn't been so shocked at the assumption that A, I was going to try and rip her off, or B, that I was about to take off on some drunken adventure. But being ripped off was a real concern for Nancy. Our cabin was a very small one, and it was up on the spa deck. And our whole entourage was very eager to take the tour of the spa and sign up for all those wonderful treatments. And we knew Nancy was hurting. So we suggested, "Nancy, get a massage." And her response was, "Oh, poppycock, all they want is your money." No massage for Nancy. As we unpacked in our tiny little room, we were very careful not to take up more than our allotted space. And I was sure by now that Nancy had dismissed me as some ditzy half-wit with a possible drinking problem. Her side of the bathroom vanity, there was a toothbrush, toothpaste, and a hairbrush. My side of the bathroom vanity, well, I had at least 3 bags full of lotions and potions. Her suitcase, oh my, I was so relieved it was the same size as mine. But hers was quite full of white plastic shopping bags, all knotted at the top. Before Nancy had left home, she had undone all her pill containers and dumped the contents into these bags. Because her arsenal was all about in case I get sick. My arsenal was all about how good I was going to look at dinner every night. Every morning, we would put on our big fluffy house coats that they gave us, and we'd go sit on our little deck, and we'd eat croissants and sip coffee. And it was there that Nancy told me about her childhood. I heard about a childhood that was full of the drone of warplanes and the sounds of bombs dropping. And she told me the terrors of a child who saw things that no child should ever see. Nancy was a little girl during the Battle of Britain in World War II. And therein she revealed to me the foundation of what had shaped her. When she grew up, she became a medical doctor. She married another medical doctor, an Irishman, to her family's chagrin. So they immigrated to Canada. They couldn't have children of their own, so what did they do? They adopted and raised 5 orphans. And when Nancy told me about her youngest child, who was mentally challenged, that it happened. The tough old bird mask came off, and I saw it. The softness that had been so fiercely protected. Now she was alone. Like myself, both of us had nursed our husbands through dementia and disease until it was time to part. And we realized that despite a 20-year age difference, we had much in common. On our last day, I got sick. I got a bad infection, and I had had it before. I knew that I had to get an antibiotic into me. I still had airports and taxis and planes and everything to navigate on our journey home. I needed my wits about me. And it was then I remembered those white plastic shopping bags. And sure enough, Nancy had just what I needed. As we were leaving our little room for the last time, I put my arm around her. I gave her a wee squeeze. I wanted to thank her for having the presence of mind to bring that medication. I said, Nancy, I don't know what I would have done without you, how I would have coped. I'm so glad you had the foresight to bring all those pills. Her answer floored me. Well, she said, as she shrugged off my hug, you would have had to go to the sick bay, and there they would have treated you for gonorrhea or syphilis. So much for our last tender moments together. As I slide towards her age group, I'd like to remember Nancy and when it's a good idea to be a tough old bird. And while I hope that my ability to be tactful does not decline with age, I trust I will remember this. And it's something my dad always said. Old age is not for sissies. Yeah. It's a time for tough old birds to preen their feathers. Nancy just celebrated her 90th birthday. And yes, she's still practicing medicine. Her resilience and her inner strength continue to shine through her. And I hope somebody someday says, I'm a tough old bird too. Thank you.